Impending white doom. No, for real though, all signs point to the metro area's biggest snowstorm in years. Get the buck out. Congressman Ken Buck's going to quit Congress early.
It is the worst year of the 9 years and 3 months that I've been in Congress.
Buck bolting is likely bad news for Lauren Boebert. A city surprised to find out it's housing the homeless from the next town over. Trying to track down truck drivers who got their licenses from a troubled school. The state wants to know if they actually, know how to drive a truck.
We need to end up ensuring that that person has the proper skills and knows what they're doing out there.
And a longtime voice of life on Denver's streets prepares to speak a new language. Tonight on Next. 40 to 50 million Americans quit their job every year. Ken Buck quit his job in Congress today. First House member from Colorado to do that in modern political history. So that's the news you're going to see everywhere. Here's the context on how Buck's move is likely to make life more difficult for two fellow Republicans, the Speaker of the House and Congresswoman Lauren Boebert.
I think this place is dysfunctional.
Getting the buck out of here means a slimmer majority for Republican Speaker Mike Johnson. He'll only be able to lose 2 GOP votes to pass legislation on a party line vote.
I'm resigning my seat and creating a vacancy in my district.
The buck stopping here means Republican Party insiders in his district will pick a replacement to run in a special election and almost certainly trounce the Democrats' pick for the special election in that deep red part of Colorado, the Plains, Dougco, Loveland. But remember, that special election is just the race to fill the seat for the rest of the year. The bigger race is decided that same day, June 25th, the Republican primary for a full term in Buck's seat.
Have you ever been arrested?
Do we get this?
These are the folks seen here, raising their hands at a recent debate when asked if they'd ever been arrested. Lauren Boebert leads this field in fundraising and name recognition, but she almost certainly will not be the party insider's pick for the special election ballot. It very well could be one of her primary competitors, and that could hurt Boebert's chances if voters are confused by 2 races on the same day, with another Republican getting a special election showcase on the ballot. Buck's constituents will still be able to get services like help with government benefits and such from House staff, even while his seat is vacant. It's been a long time since a U.S. House seat from Colorado was sitting empty. Pop quiz, and this is a hard one. The prize is my never-ending respect. When was the last time that there was a vacancy in a U.S. House seat from Colorado? I will know if you Google it, so don't Google it. Email your answers, or at least your best guess, to next@9news.com. Back with the answer in a bit. Hey, so not sure if you heard, but Denver could see its biggest snowstorm in 3 years on Thursday. The word is out because there's lots of warning on this one. So Denver's making space to bring people in off the streets. The old Best Western at Quebec and I-70, along with the McNichols building at Civic Center Park, they'll both open extra shelter space starting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. They'll be open through at least Saturday morning. Denver's rec centers will also be open for people to get in out of the weather during business hours, like for anybody who's waiting on a bus. Kathy Sabin, closer we get to this, the more it looks like the real deal.
It absolutely does, Kyle. This is the time of year we would see a storm of this magnitude, and it looks like all forecast modeling is pointing to a big snow event and a big impactful event for Denver on Thursday. Hard to believe when we have hazy sunshine and 60s both Monday and Tuesday. We have a winter storm warning that goes out Wednesday night through Friday morning for heavy, wet snow. Travel will be difficult, if not impossible, across some parts of the state. Temperatures today above the average of 53. We had a 70 in Lamar, but this system coming our way from the Pacific Northwest going to dive down and move quickly into southern Colorado. The first wave comes through tomorrow, so winter weather and travel advisories have gone out for the state for heavy snow. Denver under a winter storm warning Wednesday night through Friday morning for 9 to 18 inches of snow. Foothill areas above 6,000 feet. 18 to 36 inches of snow. And this system will drop some heavy snow in the Colorado high country as well. The timing is going to be everything. No issues with your drive tomorrow morning or tomorrow night, even though the snow's picking up in the high country. We will have rain tomorrow afternoon, and even at this time tomorrow night, still raining in Denver. It flips quickly over to snow tomorrow night into Thursday morning, turning heavy, wet, heavy snow all day Thursday into early Friday morning before this system rolls out. So what does this mean for you? Well, Well, heavy, wet snow, 9 to 18 inches from Denver down to Highlands Ranch, 5 to 10, Kiowa, out to Deer Trail, lighter amounts to the north and east. And in this hot pink area, that's where we could be measuring the snow in feet, 1 to 2 plus feet possible of snow in the foothill areas like Blackhawk, Evergreen, Georgetown, and Idaho Springs. Temperatures this evening are comfortable, a mild night ahead. And so here it comes. Rain to snow with a high of 48 Wednesday, heavy wet snow with a winter storm warning on Thursday. Clearing out Friday, we give you a beautiful weekend with sunshine and 40s both Saturday afternoon and Sunday as well.
Some breaking news in Colorado politics. Within the last few minutes, Donald Trump has made his endorsement in Colorado's 5th congressional district. This is down in El Paso County. Trump is endorsing Colorado Republican Party Chairman Dave Williams. We have reported here how Williams has essentially turned the state party into a vehicle to promote his political ambitions, using party resources to promote his candidacy and to attack his rivals, including his rival Jeff Crank, who was attacked by Donald Trump today on Truth Social when Trump just posted that Williams has his complete and total endorsement. For the third time in recent weeks, Fox News Channel put out misinformation about stuff happening in Colorado. We think it's worth discussing here because so many people see America's most watched cable channel. Now, the first two bogus claims were about migrants in various towns. So Fox's fake outrage du jour about school lunches in Denver, that almost feels harmless by comparison. Fox falsely claimed this week that Denver Public Schools is banning soda for kids in school. That actually happened decades ago.
Well, another proposed ban that could be equally unpopular, sodas in schools across Denver.
We have seen this massive pushback from non-political parents, particularly about anything to do with schools, having seen what their children were subjected to during the pandemic.
So it seems like Fox got confused because Denver City Council is considering telling restaurants to make water and milk the default options on kids' menus. If that Denver City Council proposal passes, soda and juice would still be available for kids, but just on request. This actually got me thinking about the history of soda in Colorado's schools. Again, no new ban on soda in DPS. Fox News made that up. But decades ago, Colorado's school districts actually welcomed soft drink companies because they really needed their money. In the 1990s, from Aspen to Denver, schools struggling with their budgets signed big money deals to give soda companies exclusive access. A $5.75 million deal for 5 years with DPS and Pepsi back in the late 90s. Then health concerns led to pushback, and in 2009, state legislators required districts to ban diet sodas. The State Board of Ed overturned the diet soda ban in 2016, and districts have been able to make up their own policies since then. The state of Colorado has shut down a truck driver testing facility for hundreds of violations. And now the state is scrambling to find all those commercial drivers who may or may not actually know how to drive a big truck on the roads next to the rest of us. Here's Mark Salinger.
An empty parking lot in Lakewood is the safest place to make sure truck drivers actually know how to drive a truck. For weeks now, the state DMV has set up shop here, retesting more than 180 people who got their commercial driver's licenses from a place called Randy Lopez CDL Testing and Training. The state found so many violations they shut the business down in December and are trying to figure out whether the truck driving school gave licenses to people who should never have been on the road.
We need to end up ensuring that that person, has the proper skills.
Documents obtained from the Colorado Department of Revenue show the driving school scored tests incorrectly, gave applicants credit for parts of the test they never took, and didn't even record speeding violations that happened during driving tests. Those are just some of the hundreds of problems recorded in state audits.
We have people out there that frankly were not meeting the standard that's essential in our industry.
Greg Fulton is the president of the Colorado Motor Carriers Association, a trucking industry group. He knows having a properly trained driver is essential to everyone on the road.
We are a more regulated industry than almost any in the country, but like any industry, you have some bad actors, and we need to end up, and we're committed to trying to actually get those people out of the industry.
One commercial truck into a SUV.
A truck driver who killed a family of 5 on I-25 in Weld County in 2022 didn't have a proper commercial driver's license. He's now facing vehicular homicide charges. as the state cracks down on driving schools that may put people on the road who should never be there. I spoke to Randy Lopez on the phone this afternoon about why his business was shut down. He told me no one passed the driving test who shouldn't have, and said the problems were simply clerical errors. That's what he told me. Again, the state's audit found hundreds of problems, including not marking down speeding violations on driving tests and giving people credit on parts of the test that they never took. Kyle, it's unclear if the state also considers those just clerical errors.
As somebody who failed my first driving test, I can't recall why. Some of this is almost comical, but then you think, then you've got these folks on the road next to the rest of us with a vehicle that's big enough to easily kill.
Exactly. 80,000-pound trucks. You saw the damage that it did on I-25 a couple years ago when it killed that family of 5. I mean, just consider this. I mean, if you or I are taking our first driving test in our mom's minivan and we're speeding, we automatically fail the driving test. These people were speeding according to these audits, and still that was never marked down on the test.
Wow. Mark Salinger, thank you. The longtime voice of people living on Denver's streets is pivoting to give voice to the newest folks on the margins in the city. Remember when Aurora's leaders got ticked off when they learned that Denver was using a hotel in Aurora to shelter people from Denver? Well, now it's happening up north. City leaders in Evans are not happy that Greeley didn't give them a heads up before moving people across city lines. Our Marshall Zellinger looks at how poor communication is complicating another effort to get people off the streets.
The Heritage Inn has a boss.
I am Southern and I'm German. I don't play.
Julie Shalani runs the hotel that also serves as a Greeley temporary shelter for those experiencing homelessness.
They can't be rowdy and they can't be causing trouble and no drugs. If they can follow my rules and follow their rules, they get put into a permanent housing.
The thing is, this hotel for the homeless population from Greeley and 2 others across the street are in the neighboring city of Evans.
Communication's key.
Evans City Manager Cody Sims has not had good communication with his neighbor, Greeley. He found out Greeley was using rooms as temporary shelters in 3 Evans hotels last month.
I've got to be able to keep, my city council updated on what's going on. And right now, there's too many I don't knows to be able to answer questions.
I should have talked to him first.
Juliana Kitten is in charge of homeless and housing solutions in Greeley.
It was not like, oh, we should take all of our homeless people and temporarily put them in Evans hotels. That was never the thought. The thought was these are hotels that are open and available, and, we have a sense of great urgency.
Kitten says she uses 3 hotels in Greeley and 3 in Evans, and that's been a practice before she arrived a year and a half ago. Greeley has used grant money to pay for the rooms to temporarily house 82 people since May, 69 of them in Evans.
And we're not putting any more people into the hotels in Evans until we can have a conversation and face-to-face and develop, I think, a better plan.
The meetup between neighbors, Greeley and Evans, is 1 week from today.
Where's this program going to be in a year, and what does success look like getting there?
The answer is permanent housing with supports for this population.
Including people like Julie, the boss in Evans.
I tell people I kind of like to ride a tight ship, but I want you to feel at home too.
She was lovely. There are currently 8 people in temporary shelters in Evans right now, 4 in Greeley. And until the 2 cities meet next week, Greeley is not using Evans hotels for additional people to be put in those shelters.
So, again, none of this is against the rules, right? It's just whether people are getting a courtesy heads up. But you hear every leader in Colorado talking about we need intergovernmental cooperation to solve these problems, and then people are going behind each other's backs.
I think the concern is, and I voiced this in my interview with the Greeley assistant city managers, are you bringing people to another city, and then when time runs out or money runs out, you're like, you're on your own, and by the way, you're in, and that's not what's happening here. So I think maybe that would ease some concern, that eventually these are temporary shelters, and the goal is to get them into a permanent place with a kitchen, and then continue to serve them, whether that's in Greeley, Evans, or somewhere in between. But this is just temporary.
Yeah. Speaks to the bigger question of whose problem is homelessness in Colorado? Is it everybody's problem, or is it just some cities' problems? Marshall, thank you. All right, back with the answer to tonight's super nerdy pop quiz question. This was a hard one. Congressman Ken Buck's resignation today is the first House vacancy from Colorado since 1982. That is when former astronaut Jack Swigert was elected to the then brand new 6th Congressional District, but Swigert died before taking office. Dan Schaefer won the special election, and Schaefer held that seat for 15 years until he was succeeded by Tom Tancredo. Even though that was a brutal question, a couple of you nailed this, Alan Nakamura was the first to write in with the correct answer, and Stephanie Coates close behind.
We share so many values with these people, but we're caught up on these issues that divide us.
The newspaper, long known for giving a voice to folks living on Denver streets, finds new purpose, capturing the challenges of migrants coming to Denver. Hawking newspapers on the street seems like something from a bygone age, unless you're talking about the Denver Voice. Those are folks selling those papers to tell their stories of homelessness and poverty and to help find a way out. The paper's goal has not changed, but its voice is.
So the mission is essentially to provide economic opportunities for people that are experiencing income or housing instability. My name is James Kay, and I'm the Executive Director for Denver Voice. Just like everyone else, I think we've noticed the migrant community. Since kind of opening our doors up to this community, we've seen an overwhelming influx into new clients and new vendors. Just in the last week alone, we've added over 20 new clients. We average, anywhere from 30 to 40 vendors a month, and so for us to add 20 essentially in a week is a really big deal, and it's going to take a lot of support to be able to continue doing this. We've got a lot of our materials translated, we've got our training videos translated, and we have started making strides providing our service within the migrant community, and it's been wonderful so far.
A lot of these are from some of the encampments. I'm Giles Clausen, and I've been with the Denver Voice since 2007 or 2008. The city of Denver has served nearly 40,000 new immigrants. The hardest story right now is people are having to leave the hotels. And a lot of them have not been able to find jobs, and they've not been able to secure apartments. This guy's got his heater out, and so many of them talk about their faith. They talk about God, they talk about Jesus. And what is so interesting to me is we share so many values with these people, but we're caught up on these issues that divide us.
Yeah, we have a large need for volunteers that can help us with outreach, especially bilingual, multilingual volunteers. And then we also are, requesting, some financial support to allow us to continue doing this work.
If we can continue to offer some support until they get their work permit, until they get a job, until they are able to support themselves, we can help create an even more vibrant community in Denver.
We can't solve every issue that these communities facing, but we are a resource, and I think that is the biggest message we're trying to get out there to folks, is to say, we are here. This is one opportunity that you don't have to worry about getting approved for.
If we create these opportunities, it's not just going to benefit the people we give a home, it's going to benefit every one of us.
Interesting, given how many people try to pit migrants against the homeless. First, has your feedback. Thank you. We'll do that next. Feedback from Sally, who says, I'd like to know how many other cities across the U.S. have started shows like Next. Seems like a great idea to provide a forum like that. Good question, Sally. We talked to some colleagues at our sister stations around the country, and a few of them tried things, but honestly, it's all we can do to kind of keep this show on the air. Brian says, don't forget your bananas ahead of the storm. Remember, that's the way that we gauge when it's really coming. Take pictures of empty banana shelves. Next at 9news.com is the email. Gauge the panic.